In this video, I am breaking down the 5 IT skills that can launch your 6-figure tech career, even if you're starting with absolutely nothing, no experience, no degree. All you need is ambition. I'm also going to show you why companies are desperate for these skills and projects that you can create to build these skills and the type of salaries that you can expect. Now, let's be real for a second. If you're stuck in a job that drains the life out of you, if you're tired of being underpaid, and overworked, and you want to get into tech, but it feels like this giant and confusing world that you have no idea where to begin. I know exactly what you're feeling. I've been exactly where you are. Listen, I used to deliver pizzas, barely scraping by. And now, years later, I have become a self taught data scientist, and I also help teach thousands of other career changers to break into data and do the same thing. I've helped students land roles at places like Roku, Microsoft, and more. And today I'm going to give you a blueprint to do the same thing. So if you're serious about building a career that gives you freedom, security, and real cash, this is going to be your starting line. All you need is clarity and action. So let's get started. Skill number 1, programming. Now, before you start thinking, you know what, I'm not a computer person, stop it right now. Programming is the number 1 skill that makes companies sit up and pay attention to you because you're not just someone who knows tech, you're someone who can build actual solutions. Because here's the truth. Programming is not about being a genius. It's about being able to break down big, complex problems into small, manageable steps and then telling the computer exactly what to do. That's it. If you've ever figured out the fastest route for your deliveries, if you've ever juggled 5 things at once without dropping the ball, if you've ever looked at a chaotic situation and thought, okay, first we do this, then that, then the rest. Congratulations, you're already thinking like a programmer. You just need to translate that into code. Now, why do companies even care about programming in the first place? Simple. Companies live and die by how fast they can build, automate, and innovate. If you can build an app that helps customers book services, automate reports, and save your stakeholders hours each week, set up dashboards that show real-time business results, you become an irreplaceable asset, not just an employee. And guess what? Companies pay assets very, very well. Now, you can't just walk in and say, hey, I know Python, I know XYZ. Everybody says that. You need proof and you need projects that show you can actually do something with it. So first, here's a project that you can build even as a beginner. 1, a task automation script. Write a simple Python program that automatically sorts downloaded files into separate folders. PDFs go here, images go there, spreadsheets go there. Simple, yes, but it shows that you understand automation and workflow optimization. And that's powerful. Second project, a basic web scraper. Build a Python script that pulls job listings from a career site or prices from an e-commerce store. Then analyze that data to find trends. Now you're showing companies that you can collect and store data intelligently. Now let's talk about the pay, because you deserve to know exactly what you're aiming at. Entry-level programming jobs can start around anywhere between $70,000 to $90,000. And once you get a couple of years under your belt, you're going to be looking at 110K to 140K plus. And that's not hype, that's very normal. Now you're probably wondering, how long is it going to take me to learn programming? If you commit just 1 to 2 hours a day, you can learn a programming language in as little as 3 months. But this isn't about binging 50 tutorials and hoping things stick. You want to build small, real-world projects and stacking those wins right after another. And when you do, you'll wake up and realize you're no longer hoping for a new career, you're actually doing things and building towards it. All right, so now that you know how to build things, what happens after you launch? How do you keep your systems running fast, reliable, and scalable? That's where our second skill on the list comes in. DevOps. DevOps is what companies use to make sure their systems actually work fast, reliably, and at scale. Because every second of downtime costs companies thousands and sometimes millions of dollars. And if you can help save them that kind of money, let me tell you, they're going to fight over you. DevOps engineers keep money flowing, period. So what does DevOps actually look like day to day? You could be deploying applications so they don't crash on launch day. You could be setting up monitoring systems that catch problems before customers notice. You could be scaling servers automatically when traffic explodes, like a Black Friday or Cyber Monday rushes. You're the reasons businesses stay alive and customers stay happy. Now, if you want to stand out for a DevOps engineering role, you need to show that you can actually build reliable systems and not just talk about it. So let's introduce a couple projects that you can start out with. First project, deploy a personal website. You can build a simple website, it could be a personal portfolio, anything, and then you can automate the deployment process using GitHub Actions, meaning every time you push an update to your code, the site redeploys automatically without you lifting a finger. Now you're showing off skills like version control, continuous integration, and automation. 3 things that companies love. Project number 2, Dockerize a Python app. This one's a game changer. So take a basic Python app that you probably learned how to do in the very first skill and package it inside a Docker container. Now your app can run anywhere, on any computer, on any server, without the "but it works on my machine" headaches. You're proving that you understand containerization. And right now, container skills are some of the most in-demand skills in tech. Period. Once you get these projects under your belt, you can start targeting real DevOps roles like a DevOps engineer, a site reliability engineer, a cloud infrastructure engineer, or a platform operations specialist. Now, let's talk paychecks because DevOps pays. Starting salaries for entry-level DevOps roles can be anywhere from 85K to 110K out the gate. After some experience, you can start looking at 130K to even upwards to 170K. This is not hype, not clickbait. These are real numbers. Now, how long would it take to get there? If you start today and put in about 1 to 2 hours of focus hours a day, you can build a good foundation in about 4 to 6 months. If you're brand new to tools like Linux, give yourself a good 6 to 9 months to really get dangerous. And remember, you don't need to know everything to get hired. You just need to be good enough to deploy, monitor, and scale. That's it. Now, where does all this valuable information that we're creating actually live? Databases. So let's dive into skill number 3, working with databases. Listen, if you can learn how to manage data, you won't just survive in tech, you will thrive in tech. Data is the oxygen that companies breathe, and every part of the business runs on it. Customer data, order data, payment data, marketing campaign data. If a company's data is a mess, they can't grow, they can't scale, and they can't make as much money as they could. So it's essential to know how to manage and store all this data. When you understand databases, you can pull the right data when leadership needs answers fast. You'll know how to clean and organize messy customer lists so marketing campaigns can actually work. And you can know how to build real-time dashboards to know what's actually happening instead of guessing. You become a person companies cannot move without. And the skills you need to master it, it's not really a crazy list, but you need to get fluent in SQL, the universal language of querying databases. Relational databases, PostgreSQL, MySQL, very common relational databases that you may see in the real world. If you want to get into unstructured data, know MongoDB. Simple, powerful, and in demand. Now again, you don't just stand out by saying you know SQL, you stand out with real world projects that can prove that you know SQL. So let's break down some simple database portfolio projects that you can do. An easy project is a customer's orders report. You can build a small database with a couple tables, orders, and customers. Create some SQL queries that pull in the top customers by number of orders or total revenue per month, or even a query that shows the most popular products. A second level project would be an inventory management system. Well, you will build and design a database that tracks products, suppliers, and stock levels for a fake warehouse. You're showing off database design thinking, not just writing basic queries, but structuring systems that solve real actual problems. Now, with database skills, you can start targeting roles like a SQL developer, an analytics engineer, or a data engineer. These are high in-demand roles that actually pay very well. Starting salaries can be anywhere between 75 to 90 out the gate, and add some experience to your belt and you're looking at 120 to 150 after a couple years. All right, so now how long does it take to learn databases? When it comes down to SQL basics, you can learn how to write real queries in as little as 30 days if you practice daily. To build a full portfolio and work with bigger data sets and be actually job ready, give yourself about 3 to 5 months. No shortcuts, no magic wands, just stack projects and just keep building your proof. All right, now that we know how to build systems, deploy and scale, let's talk about how do we understand how to analyze data. And this is where our skill number 4 comes in. Data science and analytics. Now let's kill the biggest myth right now. No, you don't need a PhD. You don't need to know how to build AI robots, and you don't need to be some math genius. Companies actually need things way more simpler. Companies just need people who know how to take messy raw data, organize it, and find a story behind it. Because today, companies are drowning in data. Every click, every sale, every like, every transaction, data is piling up faster than they know what to do with it. But here's the crazy part. Most companies have no idea how to actually use their data. So if you can step in, pull real insights out of that chaos, and you can show leadership what's working, what's broken, and what's the next big win that they can do, you become priceless. So, what can you do with data analytics and data science? You pull messy and raw data out of databases, you clean and organize it and find patterns, you can build dashboards for leadership, you can predict future trends like which customers will churn and when, how much inventory to stock up, or when will sales spike. And most importantly, you tell clear and actionable stories that move the business forward. All right, so what are some projects that you can build to showcase knowledge of data science and analytics? So, project one, you can build a customer churn analysis dashboard. You can grab a customer data set and predict who's at risk of canceling their service. Your dashboard can show top churn risk factors. You can include suggested retention strategies and showcase monthly churn trends. Here you would be showing your skills in predictive modeling, storytelling, and more. Another project would be sales forecasting. You can take past sales data from an e-commerce company, predict next month's sales, so leadership knows when to boost inventory or brace for slowdowns. Now you're showing off time series analysis, forecasting, and strategic thinking. Roles that you can step into after you start building your skills are data analyst, business intelligence analyst, a data scientist, or a marketing analyst. Now let's get to the paychecks. For your very first role, you can expect to earn anywhere between 70 to 90K. If you have multiple experience on your belt, you can even earn 6 figures in your first role. All right, so let's jump into skill number 5. Cloud computing. If you want the secret 6 figure skill set that almost nobody outside of tech is talking about, it's definitely cloud computing. Now, when you hear cloud, don't overthink it. Cloud is just someone else's computer. It's about running apps, storing files, and scaling businesses online without needing a giant server room full of buzzing machines. Companies need cloud computing because one, it's more affordable. They don't need to buy and maintain hardware. It's faster. They can scale up more quicker as business grows. And it's safer. When done right, it is actually more secure than old school servers of the past. On the job, you can expect to be hosting websites and apps on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, setting up automatic backups to store user data so it never gets lost, managing cloud databases and scaling them as traffic grows, or creating a disaster recovery system in case something blows up. And again, it's not about memorizing a bunch of technical jargon. It's about learning how to build and scale secure real-world systems companies can actually trust. So here's a few tools that you want to get familiar with. AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Terraform, and Linux. Here are a few projects that you can start building to showcase your cloud skills. Number one, deploy a static website onto AWS S3. You take a simple website, it could be your portfolio, and host it securely on AWS using S3 buckets. You configure permissions, set up your domain, and make it secure with HTTPS. Companies love seeing this because it shows cloud fundamentals. Project number 2, build and launch a virtual machine. You spin up a cloud server, EC2 instance for example. Install Linux and set up a web server like Apache and secure it with SSH keys. Now you're not just hosting websites, you're building a full cloud environment that's actually secure as well. Now let's get to the pay. Starting salaries for cloud roles can be anywhere between 85K to 110K. Stepping up in cloud engineering with a couple of years of experience under your belt, and now you're looking at 130 to even upwards to $160,000 waiting for you. Now, if you start today and put in about a couple hours a day, you can start building good, strong cloud foundations anywhere between 4 to 6 months. And if you want to get deeper into cloud engineering, just add another additional 3 to 6 months after that. Any of these 5 skills can unlock your 6-figure tech career, even if you're starting from zero. You don't have to master all 5, you don't need another degree, and you don't need permission from anyone else to get started. Just pick one, commit to it, lock in for 90 minutes a day, and keep stacking real world projects until you start seeing wins pile up. Now, most people will watch this video, feel inspired for a couple minutes, and do absolutely nothing. Don't be like most people. Your future self is counting on you to make a move, not perfectly, not necessarily instantly, but consistently. Stack those skills, stack those wins, and when you're ready to move deeper and get into a real playbook for building your portfolio, getting interviews, or locking in offers, you know where to find me. Which skill will you start learning today? All you need to do is pick one. You don't need to master them all, and they all have so many different opportunities. Comment below which one you're going to start today.